Rachel, and today I'm going to be telling you all about week 4 in the Milan Art Mastery Program. This was a very busy week. We had to produce 5 pieces of art this week, and let me tell you, it was a stretch, it was a challenge, and I really enjoyed it. The first thing we started off with was a charcoal drawing from still life. I really love my typewriter. It's an antique vintage typewriter. It reminds me of my grandfather. So I know that a typewriter is a very tricky thing to draw, and so I knew that I was getting myself into a larger challenge, but I felt up to it at the time, and so I went with it. So here's my finished product. When I look at it now, I can see things that I didn't see when I was working on it. First of all, this bottom of the typewriter should be up a little bit. You see how it's distorted? This corner comes towards you. Well, the entire typewriter was set at an angle, which made it really, really tricky to draw because it's so difficult to do a tiny little slope. And originally I had actually drawn it up there, but I thought it was incorrect, and I wish I had left it that way from the beginning, but I didn't. The second thing that I will tell you is that the way I did my background here is I just used the vine charcoal, which is the charcoal that erases or that it smudges away and goes back down to a value 4 or 5. Well, I think it could have added a lot more interest if I had darkened the area of the printer. This entire setup was on one of my printers, and the printer had a shiny glossy surface, and the typewriter was hanging off of the printer. So another tip that I would tell you if you're doing this is to get a wood board or a piece of cardboard or something stiff to set your entire still life on, because honestly, some of this stuff was like hitting the back of the wall, some was falling off of the front of the printer, and it wasn't really a great place for a setup. When you're trying to measure proportions, if your still life is too close to you, you can't really stretch out your arm, fully with that proportion tool. You can only do something like this. So I put the farthest corner that I could set up my still life. So if you're in a smaller room, you have to just keep that in mind, that you want to set up your still life in a place that you can get the same sort of measurement every single time so that it works out for you. Okay, when I look at this now, I also noticed that I didn't get a lot of super darks. I have a couple darks here and right down here where the printer is, and maybe a little bit here, and I did erase some whites here, but I would have liked to have seen some more contrast in this typewriter. The parts under the keys were really difficult. I did count off all the keys and make sure that they could fit in. I had to erase those a couple times, but I would have liked to see a little bit more blacks. After that, we worked on Alla Primas. Alla Prima means sitting down and painting all at one time in one sitting, and I've never done that before with oil paints, obviously, because I just started this program, and I found this super challenging. Why is that? Well, the reason is because when you're doing an Alla Prima, first of all, you have to mark out where your still life is on the canvas with paint. And when I draw digitally, I'm used to drawing with a line drawing and then filling it all in. And so having to use a paintbrush, I kept messing up where things would be, and then I'd have all those paint marks still on the canvas, and I have to figure out, about erasing them and getting rid of them because it confused me a little bit. And the second thing about painting Alla Prima is that you have to paint fat over lean. So you start off with thinner paint, and then you can mix that paint with the mediums, and then as you go farther along, you have to make sure you're using more like thick, opaque oils. The thing with painting Alla Prima is you start with cools and then you layer up and add in your warms. And I realized that I painted this little stuffed animal frog all in cool tones, and when I went to, and I kind of forgot to put the warms in, and afterwards I was like, oh, I could add those in, but the paint was so thick, I had added so many layers that I couldn't, it was like, you know, mixing into butter, it just all swirls together, and I decided just to stop and let it be the way it is, because this is my first Alla Prima painting. Differentiate the hand here from the foot, and there's a little bit of the star coming into the foot. It's a bit of a mess, but you know, it will show my progress. This is my first Alla Prima painting, and the other thing that's really funny about this is that the background color is this lime color. I was going for, once again, I was going for the Naples yellow that is on our wall, and clearly this is not a Naples yellow. It looks like a fluorescent yellowish lime color. It is not at all the color I wanted, but we were working with a limited palette. This was with 3 colors, a red, a blue, and a yellow, and in warms and in cools, as well as black and white. And so I could not figure out how to mix with the limited palette that I had the warmer Naples yellow. So the second Alla Prima painting that I did, I was so determined this time to do a little bit better job and to be a little bit more careful with the placement and how I marked it out on my canvas. So with this one, I set up my favorite perfumes, which is Dior and Chanel, and a little ring box that's for my grandmother, as well as pearls that she gave me when I lived with her when I went to college. And I set this up on a cardboard box and laid a linen napkin. This is my linen napkin, and I realize this doesn't look anything like my linen napkin, but you know, I'm still learning, and I'm really happy with the way this one turned out. With the way this one turned out. When I stepped back, sure, I could get some more intensity of color in the napkin, or perhaps add a different color to the background, but I like the simplicity of it, and I was just super excited to have improved from that to this. And then the next thing that we had to do was paint a third. Oh, I forgot to mention that in this one we got to add 2 more colors in the warm and the cool shade. So I added 2 more colors to this, and that really helped a lot to be able to mix some of the color tones in these peachy pinks and stuff that I wanted. And then the final Alla Prima painting that we did, this time we could add 2 more colors. So we started off with 3, 5, and then 7 in cools and warms. So this time I set up the ingredients to make brownies. In our home we make brownies all the time. It's our favorite snack. It's our go-to snack because it's so fast and easy. It's a one bowl thing. So I have the cocoa powder, the butter, the flour, the vanilla extract, eggs, and sugar. The real reason why I did this is because I really wanted to paint some eggs. I thought that would be really fun, and it seemed fairly simple. It's not exactly that simple, but anyway, so I set this up on the cardboard box, and I really enjoyed doing this one. I had a bit more confidence after having somewhat of a success with the perfume bottles, and so this one was a lot more fun for me to do. However, when it came to doing the background, once again I was left with going, I don't know what to do with my background. So I just used colors on my palette and I added them to the bottom. In actuality, this was set up on a piece of cardboard, so the color would have been cardboard colored. But I just enjoyed using up the paint, and that's the result. So I was super excited with how this turned out, and it made me think, what kind of subject matter do I want to paint in the future? I have lots and lots of ideas, but nothing really stands out to me as something that, you know, I would be known for. At this point, I'm still so fresh and new in this program, and I'm really looking forward to finding my voice and figuring out what it is that I want to say, what type of paintings I want to do. And the final project that we did for week 4 was a charcoal drawing from a photo this time, which makes it much easier than drawing from still life. So, because this is 3D, this is 2D. This one I chose the rose in a glass, and this is the largest still life photo drawing of a flower I've ever done in my life. I mean, this paper size is the same for both of these, but I mean, this is a gigantic glass. Look at the size of this. I have never drawn anything like that big because I've always worked small, so this is a big stretch for me, and I found that this one is a big improvement over this one. Why? Because I worked really hard at getting the darkest darks and the lightest lights in here. Now, originally I wanted to make the background super creamy, almost like cloud dreamlike, and it was starting to look that way until I added this extra layer of darks in there. And then when I went to smooth it with my cloth, I'll show you, I took a torn up piece of sheet and I was smoothing with this, but once you use compressed charcoal, you can't really erase everything, and the charcoal was dragging over into the lighter areas, so it looks maybe a little bit streaky from a distance. Up close, it doesn't look streaky, and but from a distance, it doesn't look quite as smooth as I had hoped. But I'm super happy with the progress I'm making, and I can't believe like all the things we're doing, and I can't imagine where we will get in 4 more weeks, 8 more weeks, who knows. So if you are thinking about doing the Milan Art Mastery Program, I highly recommend it, and I think you will really increase your skills a lot if you work hard. I've worked hard. I'm sure everybody else is working hard as well. It's, you get out of it what you put into it. The teachers are really great. They really explain things well, and I'm just super excited, super pumped, because I really, really want to create art that connects with others. I've been working in digital illustration for quite some time, and it's really been a bit of a struggle to get my art out there. I really didn't do the marketing side well, and I'm really hoping that when I take to painting, that somehow people would like those paintings and want to hang them on the wall, because your art has value, my art has value, and I know I have personally been encouraged by seeing other people's art, and I hope to be able to create that type of art that the world can be inspired by. So, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit subscribe so that you can watch more videos of the same kind. Go make some art today and celebrate the life you've been gifted.